What if I say, you've been lied to your whole life about what strength actually looks like? You were told it's being kind, being agreeable, being liked, keeping the peace, smiling when you're uncomfortable, laughing when something isn't funny, saying it's fine when it's absolutely not fine. And you did all of that because somewhere along the way, somebody convinced you that being easy to be around was the same thing as being a good person. Meanwhile, the people running the world, building empires, commanding every room they walk into, they never got that memo. They read different books. They operate on completely different rules. Rules that nobody teaches in school. Rules that most people never even encounter, unless they stumble across the right book at the right moment. Today, we're opening those books, and by the end of this video, you will never look at yourself, your relationships, or the people around you the same way again. Part 1. The Sheep System. How You Were Built. The first book I want to pull from is The Lucifer Effect by Philip Zimbardo. Zimbardo was the psychologist behind the Stanford Prison Experiment, one of the most disturbing psychological studies ever conducted. He put ordinary students in a fake prison. Some were guards, some were prisoners. Completely random assignment. Within 6 days, the guards became cruel. The prisoners became broken. Normal, well-adjusted college students, psychologically destroyed by a situation. Zimbardo's conclusion shook the entire field of psychology. Evil is not a personality, it's a condition. And here's what that means for you. The reason most people live small, fearful, approval-seeking lives isn't because they're weak. It's because the system they grew up in was specifically designed to produce compliance. Your entire environment rewarded you for being manageable. Robert Greene talks about this in The 48 Laws of Power. He calls it the conditioning of dependence. The system doesn't want wolves. Wolves are unpredictable. Wolves don't follow instructions without questioning them. Wolves make people uncomfortable. The system wants sheep. Productive, grateful, compliant sheep. And most people, smart, capable, powerful people, spend their entire lives not realizing the fence they're pacing inside isn't real. Part 2. The wolf doesn't need your applause. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There's a concept in the 48 Laws of Power that Greene calls Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. But there's a deeper psychological principle underneath that law that Greene doesn't fully spell out. The most powerful humans on Earth have eliminated the need for external validation at the operating system level. Not surface level, not I don't care what people think, while secretly checking their mentions at 2 a.m. At the core, they have built an internal identity so solid, so non-negotiable, that other people's opinions of them register as information at best, not as verdict, not as truth, just data. And that quality, that single internal shift, it changes everything about how you move through the world. Here's something that will hit you differently once you feel it. People unconsciously mirror your relationship with yourself. This isn't motivational fluff. This is behavioral psychology. The way you carry yourself, the way you respond to disrespect, the way you react when you don't get what you want, all of it broadcasts a signal. And every person around you is reading that signal, whether they know it or not. If you treat yourself like you're negotiable, others will treat you as optional. If you treat yourself like your time, your energy, and your attention are genuinely valuable, people feel that, and they adjust. The wolf doesn't ask the forest for permission to walk through it, it just walks. Part 3, the silence weapon. Let me give you something practical you can use today. Robert Cialdini, author of Influence, one of the most important psychology books ever written, spent years studying what separates people who command rooms from people who disappear in them. And one of his most counterintuitive findings? The less you say, the more powerful you appear. Not because silence is mysterious, because silence is comfortable confidence. The wolf sits in the silence like it owns it. And while the other person is busy filling the quiet, they're handing over information, showing their hand, exposing their insecurities, all without realizing it. Here's your exercise. Next conversation you have, whether it's a negotiation, an argument, or just a casual interaction, when the other person finishes talking, wait 3 full seconds, don't fill it, don't rescue the silence, just hold it, watch what happens. The other person will keep talking, and in those extra unplanned words, you'll learn everything you need to know. Part 4. The Hunt Patience is violence. Wolves don't sprint at prey the second they see it. They stalk, they observe, they study the pattern. They wait for the precise moment of maximum vulnerability, and then they move, decisively, without hesitation. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu writes something that most people read and don't fully absorb. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. The psychological study on this is staggering. Mitchell's marshmallow experiment followed kids for 40 years. The children who could delay gratification at age 4 showed dramatically better outcomes in every measurable life category. Not slightly better, dramatically. Because the ability to hold tension without releasing it, to sit with discomfort without flinching, is one of the rarest and most powerful cognitive skills a human can develop. Ask yourself honestly right now, where in your life are you lunging when you should be stalking? What conversation are you having too early? What reaction are you giving away for free? What move are you making before the timing is actually in your favor? The wolf moves once, and it doesn't miss. Part 5, Territory, the psychology of what you tolerate. This is the part that's going to be uncomfortable. Your life, right now, in its exact current state, is a perfect reflection of what you have allowed. Not what happened to you, not what people did to you, what you permitted to continue. Every draining relationship, every job that disrespects you, every person who speaks to you poorly and faces zero consequences, every time you bent your standard just this once for someone who didn't deserve the exception. Gavin de Becker, author of The Gift of Fear, makes this point with brutal clarity. He says that people who are chronically victimized in relationships almost always ignored the first signal, the first test, the moment when the other person crossed a small line and got away with it. Because that moment, that small, seemingly insignificant moment, is when the file gets written. Wolves don't operate this way. The wolf doesn't threaten constantly, doesn't rage at every disrespect. It simply has a line, clear, non-negotiable. And when that line is crossed, the response is automatic, calm, final, no lecture, no second speech, no emotional essay about how their behavior made you feel. One response, backed by absolute conviction, and zero need for the other person to understand or agree. That combination, clarity plus follow-through, is the psychological foundation of every person who is genuinely, lastingly respected. Part 6, The Lone Wolf, Solitude as Strategy. Here's the thing about wolves that most people miss. The lone wolf isn't the tragic one. The lone wolf is the most dangerous one, because it has done something that most people never do. It has spent enough time alone with itself to know exactly what it is. Because here's the psychological truth. Most people are terrified of silence because they're terrified of themselves. They've never actually met themselves, only the performance of themselves, the version that shows up for others, the curated, approved, socially acceptable version. Strip that away, no phone, no noise, no audience. And most people don't know who's left. And that emptiness, that's exactly what makes them controllable. Because if you don't know who you are at your core, someone else will decide for you. The wolf knows. It has sat in the dark long enough. It has faced enough silence, enough discomfort, enough raw honesty about itself that its identity isn't up for debate. And that unshakable internal foundation is the source of everything else we've talked about today. The presence, the patience, the boundaries, the silence. All of it flows from knowing yourself so well that nothing external can rewrite you. Part 7. Stop announcing, start becoming. Last one. And this one's fast, because it needs to be. Stop telling people what you're going to do. Stop announcing your goals. Stop explaining your plans. Stop warning people about moves you haven't made yet. There's neuroscience behind this, not just philosophy. When you talk about a goal, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical it releases when you achieve the goal, which means every time you announce what you're working on, you're giving your brain a fake win. And fake wins kill real motivation. But beyond the neuroscience, there's something strategically dangerous about revealing your position before you've secured it. The wolf doesn't post about the hunt. It comes back with the kill. Let your results speak. Let your presence announce you. In a world absolutely drowning in noise, the person who simply does the work quietly, consistently, without performance, stands completely, unmistakably apart. Be that person. The Decision. Every book we pulled from today, The 48 Laws of Power, Influence, Never split the difference. The gift of fear, stillness is the key. The Lucifer effect. They all point to the same truth from different angles. The wolf isn't something you're born as. It's something you decide to become. Most people won't make that decision. They'll keep the leash on, stay in the field, live the whole life waiting for someone to give them permission to be who they actually are. But you're still here, which means something in this resonated. Something in you recognized it. That's not nothing. That's the wolf. Now feed it.